Everyone, this is Villains Man, and I'm JVD, bringing another comic book review over Marvel's Secret Empire. This is 11 issues long, starting with issue 0 and ending in issue 10. It's a lot to read, and it's horrible to read. And I don't think it's horrible on the premises that Captain America is a Nazi, which everybody complained about, which was dumb. Yeah, I said it, it's dumb. It's a story, and if they would have bothered to read the story instead of jumping to conclusions, all the crap of the story that people hated probably wouldn't have been such a big deal. I would probably say with that, this is Marvel's most hated story they've ever written, just due to that. And it all took place when they started the Captain America Steve Rogers book, and at the very end, where Captain America says, "Hail Hydra," and when it came out, obviously everybody had their thoughts about it. I personally had my own thoughts about it, which I made a big post on our Facebook page about how I thought that it's very, very possible that, he could have been a Hydra agent since he was a child. And this was all Hydra's workings, just so they could understand everything and, and gain control through, United States. And with a character named Captain America behind the lines, they could learn quite a bit, and I wasn't too far off. Just in a very different sense. This book is very political. I think in a way it kind of deals with society a lot these days, and I'm not trying to get anything too political here, because I'm just trying to review the book. But there's a lot in it, because we live in a world where diversity and social issues and racism are at the forefront of all news, and this book kind of deals with it in its own little ways and making references to things in society by using races and species and people within Marvel to fit those things. So if you like that type of stuff, this is the type of book for you. This book is not for me. Especially this story, this main story. It kind of reminds me of DC's Final Crisis, where you have the main story, and it's so chopped up because there's all these mini-series and side stories from other books that go into this that you have to read them to understand what's going on. Because you're going to read this, and it constantly feels like it's skipping stuff. And it's all because they're in like a main ongoing series or a mini-series or a one-shot that tie into this. And at the time I do this, I'm not really sure how many of those I'm going to cover. I know I'm going to cover Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to cover Doctor Strange. I might cover X-Men Gold. But I'm not going to cover any of a lot of the stories that led into this. Like the Captain America Steve Rogers story. Captain America Sam Wilson. Thunderbolts. Like, a lot of these books have been leading into this for a long time. Assault on Pleasant Hill and Civil War II are big lead-ins to this, which I've covered both of those if you want to check them out. Especially Assault on Pleasant Hill. It has everything to do with this book. So if you haven't read that, there's a part in this you might understand, so you probably might want to read that book. And it's not that bad at all. I kind of enjoyed it. I might have not said that back then in the review, but now that I think about it and I kind of see where this has led to, it's not that bad. Now, the story overall, I do enjoy it. I don't enjoy the way it's spread out here because, like I said, it's so chopped up. And you probably could have took this whole story and crammed it down into half the issues and kind of made references and had panels for that due to deaths that happened in this book with major characters, and instead of just saying, oh, well, that person died. Well, where did that person die? If anything, you kind of say this book is a pickup off of Fear itself, because that was that was all Hydra with all the unworthy and sin becoming unworthy and all this ancient stuff from Hydra. And this is kind of Hydra once again making their plot for world domination, but they only managed to do it within the in the continental U.S. So, man, with that, I don't have a whole lot to say. But if you're gonna read this, man, you're in for a doozy. It's very, very chopped up. But with that, I'll kind of bring into some spoilers here which there really isn't a lot because I haven't read any of these side stories yet. But just kind of give you the basis. Captain America, he is Captain America. He is Steve Rogers. There's no doubt about it. We have learned after Pleasant Hill that Kobik had a very tight relationship, almost father-daughter, with the Red Skull. And he had lied to her about how Hydra had lost everything, that it was due to the Americans during World War II. And she helped him kind of rewrite Captain America. And basically, he's been an agent of Hydra since he was a child. They picked him up and molded him to become this great spy during World War II. So they could get behind enemy lines and, become what they became. And with her being a cosmic cube, they have rewritten history. Now, this happens really quick. Captain America, who is by far, if this shows you anything, is the greatest strategist in Marvel, and maybe all of comics, has done something really, really neat here to separate Earth's heroes. First, he has Chitauri queen eggs on Earth, which leads to the Chitauri here, and he sends out all of Marvel's heavy hitters that can stand being in space, like Captain Marvel, Hyperion, Quasar, and he sends them out there to handle them while Tony's AI and Riri set up this shield around the Earth that's impenetrable that, if I'm right, Maria Hill and Kara Danvers, had put in place for such an event during an alien invasion. So that is raised up while they're up there battling all these aliens. Meanwhile, as this is going on New York, which is the hub for Marvel when it comes to heroes, Baron Zemo has a hold of Blackout, a character that had showed up in the original Nova series with his powers with the the Dark Force here. And he uses the Darkhold to imprison all of New York in the Dark Force dimension while channeling Blackout's powers to do so. And that traps all your street level characters in New York, like Cloak and Dagger, Spider-Woman, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil. And then while that's going on, Iron Man sends out a signal to all the other heroes to show up to Washington, D.C. so they can face Cap with Mjolnir, and they get their asses handed to them, pretty much, and they scatter. So, like I said, he has done a really, really good job here of spreading out all the heroes and then showing them that you cannot mess with me. Now, that's all issue 0, and that's fine to read. And then once you hit issue 1, everything gets blown out of the water. Everything is so scattered. We find out the Inhumans have to register as soon as they get their powers, as they manifest because of the Terrigen Mist and whatnot. And they're almost treated like Jews because Hydra originally are part of the Nazi regime during World War II. So they're almost treated like Jews. The mutants are awarded a section of Western California called New Taiwan. We have the underground movement, which are hiding outside of Vegas. And they're all trying to get together to find a way to defeat Captain America. Now, Captain America is looking for fragments of the Cosmic Cube so he can have ultimate power. Also, the heroes, this underground movement, are looking for them, and they're spread out everywhere. The cube has been shattered, and they're trying to find the shards. Well, and Marvel does a great thing of putting them in these new territories. There's one in Atlantis. There's one in Wakanda. There's the mutants have one. The coolest one is actually up where Ultron, who thinks he's Hank Pym, has built a city and a massive army of Ultron drones. And from there, Ultron is going to allow them to destroy themselves so he can move in and take over. And Cap doesn't understand that. And he said, well, why would I want to play to you when I can play to them and you'll kill more of each other? So it's very smart thinking by Ultron. And he's wearing like half of Hank Pym's face. Now, I'm going to assume this is part of Marvel's continuity, and I haven't read any of this, but it's pretty crazy because versions of Ultron have been known to do this, have their own personalities, because there was a drunk Ultron, and basically this Ultron, who's thinking he's Hank Pym, is very obsessed why no one loves him and no one respects him, and he just wants everybody to be happy, but yet he wants to destroy them all. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, they're all after these cubes pieces, and Tony's AI, I should say, has figured out that they can take these pieces and they can rewrite everything, because he realizes that that is not Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is trapped in him. And Steve Rogers, our Captain America, the American Steve Rogers, is trapped within this being, which is almost like a hell tomb, where he's facing the Red Skull. And he meets Bucky and he meets Falcon. And they're trying to break him free. Sharon Carter's there. And by God, Sharon Carter's drawn old in this book as well. I don't know what it is, but Jesus, man, like in Riri Williams' book, she looked old in that. So I don't know if it's just because she's being older, like she's getting older normally, and they're doing that to show her to Captain America because he's a super soldier, but that's what's crazy. And here's the thing. Cap is still Cap during all this. He still loves Sharon. He does not want to hurt anybody. He wants what's best for the people, which is crazy because if you think about it, what him and Hydra are setting up actually works. And it shows you how submissive the people of, countries are. But, people are healthy. The crime rate's down, and it's all under Hydra regime where they show that, strength is what protects us. So, and his point is to show that no matter how good the people have it, these heroes always have to be right. And he's got everybody on his side. He even has unworthy Thor here on his side the really cool thing is when they capture Scarlet Witch, they possess her with I don't know if you'd call him interdimensional being, kind of like he's an old one because of Cthulhu, like to me, or demon, but Chatan is possessed Scarlet Witch, which is really cool, and that really draws Doctor Strange in, who's very stuck on this dark hold and dark force dimension going on there in New York. He's very tied into that, so they do a really good job of keeping him distracted, as powerful as he is, while this is spread out. But anyways, that's just kind of in the first 2 issues, and then everything, just like I said, goes to crap, because you have to read everything else to tie into this, and it doesn't make you want to read it. I really wanted to quit this, but I wanted to read it because I have these books. I feel like I have to read these books. And they're just terrible, and like I don't even really want to do this review over them. They're just that bad. But anyways, I would like to say there's some cool moments in this book. The one thing that sticks out to me during one of the run-ins with Hydra and the Underground Resistance is there's a fight, and Gorgon's there. And if you don't know anything about Gorgon, you need to read Wolverine Agent of Hydra or S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyways, Hydra takes control of Wolverine, and there's this guy named Gorgon. He's pretty awesome. And he basically, as a Gorgon or a Medusa, he can turn you to stone. And he hits Hercules with it. And Hercules is mad because he killed Phobos, which is his nephew. It's Ares' son. And as he's turning Herc to stone, Hercules, he is so angry about this that with his punch, he literally breaks the stone from him. And basically beats the piss out of Gorgon. Doesn't kill him, because he shows up later. This also shows you how much mercenaries work here. Taskmaster and the Black Ant, I think that's what Ant-Man is calling himself. One of the Ant-Mans here, O'Grady. But they turn as soon as they realize things are going bad because they let the champions out. Like I said, there's so much crap in this book, and this book is crap because it's poorly told. But anyways, we get to the end fight where they manage to send Bucky in to bring our Steve Rogers out, the good guy, Captain America, to fight Hydra Captain America, or Hydra Supreme, as he has a cosmic cube. And wonder how they're going to even this up. Well, they're fighting right where Mjolnir is, and Captain America early on, I should say Hydra Supreme, said he left it there as a reminder because he knows he's the only one worthy of picking it up, and he did not realize due to Madame Hydra's magic was the only reason he could pick the hammer up. And it does say strength instead of worthy, who is strong enough, will possess the power of Hydra. He doesn't realize that that's actually the hammer. And that's what Steve Rogers fights him with and beats the crap out of him. Oddly enough, he doesn't kill him. He stays alive. Read the Omega book, which I will bring up here because it's probably not going to fit in with everything else. They keep this Steve Rogers alive, and him and Captain America have a huge talk about how, everybody was kind of happy with the Hydra regime, and they weren't really doing anything wrong. They keep him alive. Steve says he'll never see the light of day. He's going to keep him here forever. When they come to chain him up when Steve leaves, a guy whispers, "Hell Hydra." Go figure, right? But anyways, the way the story's put together is crap. It needs to be shorter. We don't need all these one-shots and these little mini-series to tie into this and have important things happen to them. And I think this is very, very bad on Marvel's behalf. Marvel's really good at not doing this. And I don't know if they've done this because the sales backfired on them in the beginning of this. But yeah, it's poor storytelling. I hate saying that. Because Marvel is what I love to read. And this is not put together well. Everything important should happen in one book. And if it's big enough in an outside book, there really needs to be a good reference in the main title for that to happen. But if you're going to read this, pass on it. I was told to pass on it by a friend of mine. But I insisted I had to read it because, I have to read everything chronologically. But, yeah. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully you're watching this here on YouTube. You can dislike this. It's alright. I will not be upset. Even leave a comment about how much you probably dislike this book, because I don't know anybody that actually likes it. And it's not going to hurt my feelings. Or maybe you'll give me a like, because here I am, hating on it here at the end. I just wish it was told a little better. But I'm JVD for the Villains Man. Keep reading, guys.